Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Comic Book Hangover Show. I am Nate. This is Hollyat Comics. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Hagen of Lettuce Comics, right next door here. And
Hi.
our guest today is John from John's Comics with Kids. Welcome, John.
Good morning. Sorry. My coffee's a little too hot to sip right now. Otherwise, I'm going to burn my
You
face.
had to get up very early today. You're out on the West Coast, and we're on Eastern time, so we really appreciate you waking up early. Starting a Sunday morning talk show was not well thought out when we thought about the different places in the world someone might be.
You start connecting to the UK, you're going to be set.
Well, speaking of the UK, I do want to say hello to the chat and say thank you to JSS Brooklyn, who's priming the pump here and gave us a donation. And then all the way from the UK, my friend Terry from Dead Man Comic Cover Show, throwing us £2 English. And I don't know the conversion of that, but I bet it's fancy no matter what.
It could be 6 cents or $8 trillion. We have no idea.
We
haven't fought a war with England recently, we don't know anything about the country.
Yeah, if you say how much money it is with an accent, it sounds classy. So I'm going to give these guys a big thank you.
The dancing I'm okay with. The hair. It's the hair that hurts so much.
It's the looks of the passers-by that get me.
That's wonderful.
I love the lurks of the passersby. I love the people that just look at him like, what? Because I honestly don't know what they were going for in that movie. I don't know what the tone was, and that's a failure. What's not a failure are these awesome folks in the chat, like Matt from Canada, speaking of worldwide. Dan's Comic Corner, also Canadian. I think I just learned he's like he's on a weird time zone. Like he's so far east, it's a Atlantic time or something.
Oh, geez.
He was on with David Garage Geek the other night. There's my friend Eric. We'll be heading to that toy show together later. K Munin. This is me complaining. There is JSS wielding his blue wrench. Thank you for being here, John. There's my friend Chris, also going to meet up with him at the toy show. We got big plans today.
Sounds exciting.
Michael. It's a good little show. They do it every year. There's always a lot of like vintage toys, comics, nerd crafts, but it's like a local type of show. It's not
nice,
not like a big production. A lot of DIY stuff. Hey, there's Brian, local comic stud, leader of the Comic Book Community Awards, which, John, we'll talk about you because you're up for something pretty cool this year, I thought.
Yeah, I got 2 this year.
Awesome. Doug, comic collector coach, Mark's Issues with Archie.
That sounds like a great channel. I might want to find that.
Oh, if you're not subscribed to that, go check. If you like Archie, go.
I'm recognizing my little daughter. My youngest loves Archie. She's obsessed. So not the new stuff, not the Riverdale, like the OG.
Yeah. That's what he shows. He shows a lot. He has some really, really cool old books. Matt from Impressed. Thanks, buddy. Feel like I'm missing. There's Cliff. You're not late. We're still saying good morning. Morning, Cliff. I was on with Cliff the other night. We made a killer cocktail called the Lois Lane that messed me up.
Amazing. It looked expensive.
It was expensive. I mean, I went to buy all the ingredients and I couldn't find one of them, and I'm glad because that would have been another $20. Now I was doing like a liquor run for the house too, but like. But just in the drink itself, like the things that I picked up, I was close to $100 because it's like I don't have vermouth. I don't have fancy cherries.
No, I don't have those things. Yeah.
And the place I went had terrible prices on things too.
All right, Mark, I got you. I'm subscribed.
Yes. There we go. Cliff says we're beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
There's
Cliff.
J and or B. And Chris Parker.
Hey, dude.
What? Cliff, thank you so much, buddy.
He's trying to pay you back for the.
It's to help you with the
covering that vermouth bill.
Sorry, I made you buy vermouth because I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with this? That's probably still gonna be in your house when I get there next May. I have a friend who bought me as a joke. It's from a cartoon called Sea Lab, where there was a character who was born, and when he was born, they celebrated with whiskey and ham. And so when my son was born, he gave me a ham and a bottle of Crown Royal. And I still have the bottle of Crown Royal. Now, I've dipped into it when times were dark, but it's never been dark enough to finish. There's always something better.
I love it.
Kate. So hey, yeah, Kate. We'll be having next Indy 500. We'll be having vermouth and Crown Royal.
Yeah, buddy. Get her done.
So yeah, see, Cliff says the same. Also close to 100.
Everybody else said
Prosecco.
He said vermouth was the cheapest part, and that you can at least make martinis with it.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a martini guy, I'll tell you.
I'm not either. That's the thing. I'm not classy enough for a martini. Matt, $5 Canadian. That's like $1,000 US.
I think that's right.
I don't do.
That's what I remember.
I don't do conversions. Thank you so much,
since
Matt.
the tariffs. I think since the tariffs that went up.
$5 Canadian is like 8 cents. I think that it goes in that direction. It doesn't go in the other one.
Okay. See, I'm not good at this. My wife handles all the finances for a good reason. You saw Heroes. I'm about to go to a toy show and have the same face. And looking at everything.
My wife handles the financials because you see how I make decisions.
All of us do, right? I mean, look behind
you. I mean, you have an incredible little background back there. So to start, John, for anybody who doesn't know, you should subscribe to John's Comics with Friends, formerly John's Comics with Kids.
Yeah, I got both brandings behind me.
Awesome. Why did you, I know you talked about it in your video, but like when you started, why was it John's Comics with Kids, and why did you go ahead and change that now?
That's a great question. Yeah. Originally it was like, I'm going to try this hobby out, try this thing out. I've been watching a lot of YouTube and reading, of course, comics. And it was like, I want to do a little bit of something and dip my toe in this, but I don't want it to take away from my house life and the kids. And they need your attention too at that age. It's like 7 years ago. So what a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old at home, like that's the prime time to spend time with your kids. And so I just was like, you know what, maybe they want to do it too, because they read comics, they liked comics. And so the first couple of videos that I did were like, Kate is going to read Batman Year One with me, and Charlie's going to read The Wedding of Jean Grey and Cyclops with me. And, so we just did some fun videos. And then right away I thought, well, let's do a Saturday morning comics show. And that was the staple of my channel at the beginning, was Saturday mornings on the couch. The girls would bring whatever they read that week. It could be anything, could be a book, could be a newspaper, a magazine, comic, whatever. And they would just give little book reports, just impromptu book reports. And I would share what I was reading, and we would all sit together, and that was it. And we did that consistently, I'd say, for about 5 years, just sitting on the couch, me and the kids. And it was, so for me, it was about, doing this with them and controlling their social media, exposure by sitting right there with them the whole time they were on social media, basically.
Yeah, you are one of, so when I started and people, found out I was a teacher, you were a channel that came up a lot, that people were like, hey, have you watched John's Comics with Kids? Because, you're a teacher and he does these, comic book reviews and reads with his girls. And you did have a lot of also like focus on like, I'm going to butcher her name, Tellemeier,
Raina,
the girl who did,
yeah.
I mean, those kind of like scholastic books that like the kids, they're graphic novels, but they're not like superhero graphic novels, they're original. But Scholastic really has just been pumping those out, and they're not a poor quality either. I don't mean like,
No.
you know, necessarily cash grab pumping them
Amulet's
out.
fantastic, and yeah.
There's a lot of like really good stories that the kids are attracted to. So it was
Sure.
yeah, I thought it was really neat to see somebody, you know, have that kind of focus, but also you have your own interests. So
Yeah, there's always the like John's Comics with Kids After Dark.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what do you? Everybody feels like they specialize in something, or that they have like a specific interest rather than just all of comics. So what would you say that yours is?
I mean, it's that's a great question as well. I think, you know, it started as being a Marvel guy. Like that was always kind of my thing. X-Men was top of that list. I grew up reading those characters, and I've read so much of them. And then as I came in and out of the hobby, I found different niches. But that was where it started for me, was X-Men and Marvel. As I came back as an adult with kids, I found DC, and I was into a lot more of the like Green Lantern by Jeff Johns and some of that kind of stuff. And then indie comics came soon after, because I went all the way through Vertigo and all of these amazing books that at the time had, you know, it was kind of like Vertigo season 2. Like you were getting 100 Bullets and Why the Last Man, and and I was just way into Fables and these series, but I never really got back. I never got season 1. Like I missed Swamp Thing, I missed Constantine, I missed Sandman, and then I took another little break as my girls were at a certain age. And when I came back and started doing YouTube, then it was like, no, I got to go fill in these weird gaps. And I read some Swamp Thing, I read some Hellblazer, I read some of the Sandman finally, and then that bridged me to Image Comics as far as what they're doing now versus what they did when I was reading in the 90s. So but yeah, the core of it has always been X-Men, but it's expanded a lot. That's the beauty, I think, of being in this community for a certain amount of time. You start seeing like, dang, they're always talking about Starman by James Robinson. I got to read that. That sounds incredible. And then before long, now you're like, don't have room for anything.
Yeah, somehow it seems like all roads lead to Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Like at some point, everybody will read that, I think.
It's one of those seminal pieces, I think, and like a lot of that Vertigo, that early Vertigo stuff, I think it's become the era when a lot of new people found the medium, right? And it was a gateway comic for a lot of people to get into this, which is why it's so frustrating when Neil Gaiman it turns out to be an absolute heel, and you're like, well, that's too bad, because I know a ton of women specifically who found comics because of Sandman, and it was like this amazing entry point for their identity, and then to have it become so tainted by his heinous acts, it's such a shame.
Literally been one of the hardest, like, appreciate the art in spite of the artist kind of situations that I found myself in, because my wife was reading it for the first time last year, and we buy the big, beautiful leather bound, omnibus.
I got all three.
And you probably know, John, because you're an omnibus guy.
Yep.
And yeah, so I've got 1 and 2, and I haven't bought 3 yet, because I kind of want to do my absolute best to get it on a secondary market, so that
for sure
money's not going to people I don't want it to. But I mean, it's happened with a lot of people. Another, Warren Ellis is another one from that same era, that Vertigo era, similar-ish situation, and one of my favorite writers. Like, some really great stories out of that guy.
Yeah.
And that's rough. But you mentioned you started with Vertigo season 2, and you named some bangers, man. I mean, Why the Last Man?
Yeah.
That was a good era too. And
I mean, I was way into Fables as well. Like that. Yeah, there's so many stories happening in that round of the Vertigo that I was like, I was getting all the single issues, I was getting all the trades when they came out to read it again, and anytime I traveled anywhere, there was 100 Bullets or a Why the Last Man in my backpack.
One Christmas, my wife got me every Preacher trade. She got me the entire, and those are the old ones. So like they're still newspaper inside. Like, I still have them, obviously, but they're very, like, they didn't hold up. Like, I feel like those older ones were kind of made to be a little more disposable.
Okay.
than the newer ones for sure. But I just remember like absolute joy because I had read like, the first couple or something, but it's like, it's going to take me forever to track these down. And she just got me the whole set.
That's
and great. that era of Vertigo, and before season 1 as well, as you call it there, like that is what I feel like not just got people into comics, but showed that comics don't just have to be superheroes. Not that superheroes are bad, because I freaking love superheroes, but Vertigo let us tell, horror stories and gothic stories and weird fantasy like fables, you know.
Do you guys feel like Vertigo season 1 and 2, like all of Vertigo, like in those early years, is kind of like Adult Swim? Like it's the time where DC's like, it's late at night, you guys just go get all that creative shit out of you, and if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, nobody saw it. Like because the stuff from Vertigo is either really really good, or I never want to read it again. And admittedly, like I haven't read nearly as much of like that era of Vertigo, but from what I've seen, it is hit or miss. Like and it's a chasm betwixt the two.
I definitely think it's like that, but also it was the success it had, I feel like was completely unexpected. I kind of feel like Vertigo was not with Sandman. Sandman they were really courting Gaiman to come over.
And some of those had obviously been DC titles that when they branded that Vertigo brand, they shifted, right? In fact, in some of those Sandman volumes that are so beautiful, those collected editions, some say Vertigo and some say DC on the corner. You got to make sure you have a set that at least aligns.
That's the changing of the spines drives me insane when I'm collecting something.
It should.
I mean, and even the omnibuses, there's like sometimes the DC bullet is blue and sometimes it's gray, and I'm just it's the same company. Why
How dare you alter the template?
Yeah,
but like for me, I would say that the in as much as there is this disparate quality source that you're saying, Hagen, I totally agree with that. Like some of them are absolutely like the greatest comics that you'll read, and some of them are quite quirky and odd. I think the quality level is way high, and the consistency level is actually pretty impressive. And especially when you get into season 3 and you're like, Jason Aaron's doing Scalped, and you're like, wow, this is an incredible series. And then you had DMZ by Woods. Like DMZ was incredible.
I have that full run in floppies.
It's so good, and I can't. And obviously, very relevant. Very relevant. That and Transmetropolitan are too relevant.
Transmet, so good. There's one that nobody read that I thought was really good called Army at War.
Oh, I don't know.
Army at Love. Army at Love. That's what it was. Because Army at War was the DC title, and Army at Love was like basically hyper capitalist war, like tanks with advertisements on them, like corporate people running military decisions. It's laughably relatable at times.
There was a movie that I saw like that a while ago. It was called like War Inc. or something like that. And I remember seeing
John Travolta,
like a tank with like a Burger King.
Not John Cusack. John Cusack. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. You know what? It's kind of similar to that. Yeah, I remember that movie. But yeah, that was one nobody read. I've got it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll go back and read it again. But it's one of those things like if I don't want to keep it, I want to make sure it goes to somebody who like would read it and appreciate it. I don't want that to end up in a dollar bin because only one idiot got the full run. Hi.
That's how I found a lot of those guys, like Jason Aaron. For the first time, I was reading this book, Scalped, and I was like, "This book is really." It felt like an intense noir in a setting that I like, an Indian casino. I had never seen that as a setting for something. No white people in this book, and it was really like it drew you in. The characterizations were so strong.
The reservation like politics and culture is pretty foreign to most people, and it was neat. It was well written. Did you read Jack of Fables? Terry wants to know.
I read about the first third, and I do have a bunch of the Fairest issues. I liked Fairest more than Jack of Fables, mostly because I don't like Jack. Like I got bored with Jack. He's great as like a you know, a piece of the puzzle. You know, I feel the same way sometimes about Wolverine. Like he's great like as a piece of the puzzle. I don't want him as the whole puzzle.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Sorry, I think I'm having internet issues. If I drop out,
okay,
continue on.
Sorry, but I did love the cover. You know, Adam Hughes did those Fairest covers, and there are some bangers in there.
I think the regular issues have some great covers too. Just a lot happening in the, you know what I mean? Like
Bill Willingham doesn't get enough love for sure. And I've met him at cons. He's really got reasonable pricing. If you want to get like a sketch cover done or something, he's really, really friendly.
Morning, Stevie D. So, I asked you for 2 comics to put on the thumbnail, and you sent me 4, and I chose the 2 I chose.
Typical overachieving educator.
You. But the 2 that I chose, I kind of felt like went together because they both had water theme. So I know Storm is like your favorite character. So what is it about her that just draws you to her?
I think it hit at the right time for me. Like, I had already been as a kid, I loved like horror movies and blaxploitation movies. Like I watched a ton of that like 70s era stuff. Pam Grier was a goddess. She's absolutely amazing.
Foxy Brown, baby.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there was a comic and it was like, they put her in a comic. She's amazing. Like if only they could have gotten that era Pam Grier to play Storm at some point, I think it would have just been the casting dream. But then you read the character, and I think she's incredibly sensitive and vulnerable. She's very much like a teacher, and she supports everybody. And then she's the Cyclops haters, you know, or Cyclops fans can chuck rocks. Like she's the better leader. Like she is absolutely someone who, as much as she appreciates and supports the dream, is a realist and is a humanist. And I think I appreciated those qualities in her more than the like, you know, Boy Scout who just follows the rules and does whatever the boss tells him. Like that's goose stepping in my opinion. That's concerning behavior. Cyclops, like,
yeah, I know we hate Boy Scout characters here, don't we, Nate? That's
can't stand them.
See, I think you know, Gunn proved that Superman's not you know, he's not just stepping in line and following, you know, that's Frank Miller's view of Superman, which is not accurate, right? And Frank Miller's view and Captain America, same way. These are people that when the government says something that they don't believe in, they stand in the way, right?
Yeah,
and Storm is like that versus Cyclops feels like the guy who's going to be like, well, the boss says we got to do it, so we got to do it.
I don't know enough about Cyclops or X-Men because, and I don't want to draw the ire of that fan group.
Just draw the ire of Cliff. Cliff, I think comparing Cyclops to Superman is not fair because that's mean to Superman and that's mean to Captain America.
Yeah. And I think the thing with both Captain America and Superman is, like you said, like when the law goes one way, they are with the ideal, the spirit of the law. And when the law goes the wrong way, they're like, no, you're wrong, not us.
Yeah.
And you know, that's
because their moral compass is more important than the winds of time, right? The winds of change or whatever.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing to sort of pivot into another one of your areas, that a lawful good character doesn't mean that a character follows the law as written. It means that they follow their personal code. And for the most part, it aligns with the law. But when it doesn't, they go with what they feel rather than what is written.
100%. Yeah. And you know, it's funny. Obviously, we'll get into some D&D, but one of the things that I hate about the current editions is the way they describe those lawful good versus evil. You know,
the alignment chart.
Yes, the alignment chart is so vague. It's become so vague, and I think I've bookmarked it in here somewhere because I
so few people use it anymore. Even
it's such a shame.
Do you have what edition are you looking at there?
This is the fourth. This is core rulebook 1.
Yep, that's 4.
And there, the way they break down the alignments is forever going to be the way I think of the alignments. They spend like 4 pages breaking down the specifics of the various alignments. And then they end each one with this sentence that says, such and such alignment is the best alignment you can be because, and so they give you like this fun example of why it's fun to play that particular mentality.
It also that also gives you an excuse for your character to say why they are right more than anybody else.
And it doesn't put any category above any other. They're all on equal footing, but how they respond to a situation might be where they differ.
That's interesting.
I haven't
every lawyer is lawful evil.
Isn't that good? So the newest, because they did just put out like, I guess, what are they calling it? 5.5?
I think it's 5.5.
Yeah. I mean, basically, and
I haven't read it yet.
I've seen a lot of complaining, but when you're surfing the Dungeons and Dragons subreddit, you're gonna see a lot of complaining.
You're on Reddit.
Right. So I am wondering like how bad it is. I haven't picked them up because they're so hard to get cheap. Back in the day, you know, you could find online retailers that would sell, you know, it's a $50 MSRP on those books, and you could find them for $25 or $30. And I mean, now like the discount I find is like $45. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I've already got the other 3. Do I really need the new ones? And I need the new ones. I do. I'm gonna have to get them. They got new covers. They're great.
I was gonna say, if you just want the book inside, I'll rip the binding out of mine and fax you the entire contents of the book.
No, I mean, I'm a, you know, you've seen my collection. I'm a book guy. You know, those are books I like to have, and like even I have so many of the campaign books that I have never run and probably never will, but I sure like to read them because it gives, you know, it's an idea I can put in my back pocket or something. Like I can take a piece of it. But it is just like I do like to read game books. I think they're cool. For sure. I feel like somebody said something up here that I was
a bunch of people have been saying a bunch of
stuff. I know they're saying stuff and I don't want to ignore them. Oh, there you go. Why is Professor X your favorite X-Men member?
Matt knows that as I tend to like the villains in X-Men way more than Xavier and Cyclops. Xavier and Cyclops rank so low for me, and Magneto and Mystique and Emma Frost all rank so high for me because they're realists, they're humanists and realists, and they're not just locked into their one way of thinking.
Yeah, I can't. Like I said, I'm not super knowledgeable about the X-Men universe because the first my first introduction to them was the movies. So I can't say like Patrick Stewart isn't a good or that Professor X isn't a good character because Pat Stewart played him.
He's a better version than the comics. The comics have some questionable moments, like the one in like the 3rd issue when he tells us that he's in love with Jean Grey. Like his student, the teenager, he tells us that it's the thought bubble that Stan Lee should have erased. Don't say this. This is not a good moment.
I don't remember. There's a similar one in FF as well, like one of the early FF issues where Sue has her place in the group or something. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was the same thing. I was just like, you guys are jerks.
And no shame to our Archie fan Mark, but like I think Stan Lee was using that archetype of like the cute girl and everybody's interested in her, Archie and the gang style, and for the original X-Men team and for the FF to some regard, everybody loved the one female character. And there were moments when Beast was talking about, oh, I love Jeannie, and it's like, look, why do you guys all crush on the same person? Like, can we give a little breathing room to the one?
She's the only girl they put in the book. They're lonely.
Right?
It's the Smurfette problem for sure.
100%. Right?
It really is.
It's a great way to describe it.
That's more of a trope than I've ever like really thought about before. But
it happened in Avengers too with Wasp. Not so much like the love interest stuff, but being the one female character.
Right. Yeah. There are a lot of one female character in the ensemble.
Kate, sorry. Can't have it. 2's too many. One is just right.
So, but now we have books like Kate likes, like Poison Ivy and Gotham City,
Birds of Prey,
Gotham City, like
Birds of Prey is great right now. That's a really good series.
I need to pick up trades and read it.
That first trade is, if that first trade doesn't hook you, I don't even know. Like, it's hilarious, and Wonder Woman has a great cameo, and so good.
See, and I'm not even getting the Wonder Woman ongoing. And I know,
Love Tom King's
and I
Wonder Woman.
love Tom King so much. So when that book started, there was, I can't remember what the other book was, but I had to pick, which ones I was gonna start with that new Dawn of DC. And with Tom King, I was like, I think I'll be fine reading this in trade. And whatever it was I picked up instead, I've long since dropped. I should have just got Wonder Woman because Tom King. But he did that Jenny Sparks series that I got all 6 of, and I didn't really care for that. Like, so it's not like,
I mean, nobody's 100%, right?
No.
And he had just come off of, I think his last ongoing was that Batman. And I know that a lot of people are like, I don't want an ongoing King book. I just want a miniseries King book.
Yeah.
I get that mentality, but this might end up being the ongoing that he's remembered for. Cause I think this one is doing it right.
I loved his run on Batman. Freaking loved it. And
I'm glad
Hagen,
to hear.
that
I think it gets a lot of
where
hate.
they go play baseball.
Yes.
Double Date. That's him.
Yes.
I mean,
one of
my
favorite like DC comic books that probably my favorite DC comic book that I've read.
100%. And I think I think it was just high highs, low lows. I think it was just an inconsistent volume because there was a lot of like stories that like didn't really happen or amount to anything, and then this other story came in its place. People were like, wait, what happened to Bane? Wasn't Bane just doing something?
I feel like editorial came in a lot, and I know they did with the whole Alfred situation. And
they were doing 2 a month at that phase, so it was a lot to churn out. And
the Double Date, and then the whole Kite Man storyline that was like, it was like peppered throughout. And then when the resolution of that happened, I was just like, I was grinning from ear to ear. Like, I never thought I would be a Kite Man fan, but that's what a great writer could do for you.
Well, I think that run I've often compared, mainly because I'm a King fanboy and I'm a Scott Snyder hater. I think that they are of the same quality, that Snyder's Batman and King's Batman are of similar quality, and that there are high highs and there are low lows. The difference is, I think time has passed enough that people just, everything Snyder does is great and everything King did was horrible. And I think that has created a funny sort of disparity between the two, that for me, like, I would happily read, what was it? Was it the Bane War? I don't even remember what the time, what the King story was.
Right.
Over the Joker cuts off his face and wears it storyline. Like, I don't need that Scott Snyder. I don't need that. I don't need that. It's just too graphic for me.
It is graphic, and it's like, and I don't care. It's like, to me, when I saw that, I was like, this is edgy for the sake of edgy. Like, this is getting like, you want eyes on your book. You want people to pay attention. I get it. Like, look, the Joker cut his own face off and he's wearing it, but it's like, where do you go from there? Like,
right. How do you bring this character back at any point?
How do you
use them in the normal
later?
Way? Yeah.
I remember
troubling.
Books A Million used to have like kits for comic runs that were going on. So they would give you like a trade paperback and then like the Court of Owls mask, right? And it would be in one box. I remember the box that they had for the Joker cutting his face off. I was a young kid when I saw it. And I saw that and got scared and ran away. Like, I ran to the other end of the aisle because I wanted I wanted to look at Marvel, the fun stuff.
Yeah, where's Spider-Man?
So Alfred dying, as I understand it, was editorial. That it pissed King off. Like, he did. It was supposed to be like a scarecrow situation. So it was supposed to be like a hallucination. Wasn't supposed to be real. And they, for whatever reason, decided, no, we're doing this. And I think so. It was my friend Eric that told me about it, but he was saying that King actually left the book like 3 issues earlier than he was supposed to.
Fascinating.
He was like, I don't have anything else to say because you guys ruined my ending. But I hate that. I freaking hate that. Because Alfred is such an important part of the Batman like family. Yeah. Like, he's I mean, think of all
that
those
book is still
characters.
reeling. Yeah.
Right. The only good that came out of that was Tom Taylor's Nightwing. And
I was gonna say the same thing.
Thank
Look, right there he is
you.
on the wall there.
the way he wrote Dick dealing with Alfred's passing was
perfect.
So good.
Yeah.
Like that run is incredible. And seeing your daughter run a freaking a book club on it the other day, you had to be a proud papa for that. Oh my God. Man. That was so cool.
I was eating good that night. That was amazing. And I had there was a little bit of like, so behind the scenes, like we went on this trip to Tahoe and the girls like, what should we bring to read? And when they asked that question, of course, the teacher dad jumps in and like pulls out all these comics and all these trades and all these hardcovers, like, hey, you pick and choose. And so they all went and picked a bunch of things out they wanted to read. My oldest is like, ooh, Walking Dead, let me try this. And they're all grabbing their stuff. And Charlie grabbed the hardcover for the first volume of Taylor's Nightwing. And we get home and she's like, is there more of this? Is what she asks. Like, is there more beyond this hardcover? And I, of course, give her the short box of like all the issues that I had for the run. Because I was like, I had collected the whole thing. I was like, here you go. And she plowed through the whole thing so quickly. And then at the same time, my buddy JP reached out and he's like, hey, the first omnibus for that run just came out. I want to read it again. Do you want to do it? And I was like, look, school's starting. I need a break, but I got somebody I can replace me. I'll send in a relief picture. And I had to push her a little bit to be like, do you want to be on camera again? Do you want to do some stuff? And then, I had to like make this big Google document with all the notes that she could draw from, and she could open it on her phone and like read it. And then JP could, connect to it and add notes to it as well. But it was a lot of fun to see them chatting, because they like the same books. They're they're fans of all the same characters. So they get along well.
Well, she like, it takes something to sit in front of a camera and talk, right? And like keep a conversation going. But I notice like kids, and she's teenager, obviously.
Yeah, she's a freshman now.
Okay. So they grow up in this like environment. And my son, when he was like 4, he wanted to make a video, and he did, of himself playing Luigi's Mansion on his Switch. And so I get him all set up in here in the computer room, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to push the record button. And as soon as I did, he's immediately like, okay, guys, hi. Today we're going to, and he just knows how to do it because they grow up doing it. That's
hilarious.
There's no fear for these kids because they don't see it as something, something out of the norm. It's something that they see everybody do.
It's been normalized.
So it really is like, and I'm not saying nobody would have nerves, but I just noticed, like, even with my students, they seem to be kind of fearless when we do a recording. They're ready to go. So I think they kind of have it built in. But even beyond being built in, she had like a natural talent for just talking about the story and interacting with a guest and interacting with chat. It was impressive.
It was, I think, all those years sitting on the couch having to like explain Raina Telgemeier's Smile to a chat audience and talk your way through that Archie digest you read or whatever. Like, I think it all has built up to the fact that they love reading, and they love, they're crushing their AP English classes in high school, and reading Shakespeare with ease. I think it's just because of the constant exposure to all this stuff over and over again. Cool. I love it. Yeah. I'm living the dream on that one.
So something else you do on your channel that I really like a lot is the omnibus read-throughs that you do with Justin. And I have been watching the New Mutants ones. New Mutants is a book that I do collect and like a lot, but I don't have, everything, and I haven't read everything. So like some of it I'm reading for the first time with you guys. But what made you decide to do that? And the way that, like, what do you do, like, technically to get because you put the pages right up on the screen. Sometimes there's little animations and things like, what wizardry are you doing?
It started when I bought basically my first omnibus, and it's been about 6 years now. And it was, of course, the first Claremont Uncanny X-Men Volume 1. It started with Giant Size X-Men, and which he technically doesn't get credit for, but he did work on a little bit all the way through. And I think that volume ended right before the Dark Phoenix saga. So 100 and it went through about 100 issue, like 120 something. And when I bought it and I was looking it over, my friend, no good comics, Justin, he's like, hey, I just bought my first omnibus and it's the same one you bought. And I was like, hey, we should do some sort of a show. We should like go through and read them. And we went back and forth between like, is it just one night and you just talk about the whole book? And he's like, no, let's really get into it. He's like, I've never read a bunch of these. I want to go issue by issue. And so I conned him into it a little bit. and so we started trying to like, we wanted to like reference panels and pages. So we started making slideshows of the issue that we were discussing. And we were using, both of us had the Marvel Unlimited app. So you can screen grab panels and pages from that and throw them into we use a Google slideshow.
Okay.
And we just put the images in, and then if there's usually, because we're knuckleheads, if there's a thing we want to comment on, we throw in a little GIF, a little image next to it that'll make us laugh, or comment on whatever did Cyclops say this time, kind of next to it. And then we just present the slideshow, and our guests get to kind of like poke fun at or have a lot. Ultimately, it's to what do the British say? It's to take the piss out of it a little bit. Like, we're not taking this too serious. We love it. We love these characters. We love these stories, and we have a ton of respect for these creators. But we're having fun with it. These are supposed to be fun books. That's the design of it.
Absolutely.
So that's how it all kind of like came together. Thankfully, after the first season, Justin realized John did a lot of work making all these slideshows. Maybe we take turns on this. And then it became like, if you hosted, you made the slideshow kind of a thing since then. So, we're starting year 6. I think we're starting season 6 now here, coming up in next month or a month and a half.
Very cool. Yeah, making a Google slideshow, like even when you're just copying and pasting in your images, because I've done it for some book reviews, it takes time. It really does. Like, I was hoping you were going to tell me something a lot easier.
Sorry. honestly, like when we call it summer break, because we start the seasons usually in October and we end in June. So it's kind of like a school year kind of thing. When we end, we're both like, oh, I don't have to make any slideshows for a few months. I can kind of take it easy. My Tuesdays are all of a sudden open and free. As much as we love hanging out and talking, and we just did a couple Black Panther shows in the interim. We both appreciate having like less to do. We're both instinctively lazy, I think, in some regards, and so it's nice to have.
I know I am. I don't know, but yeah, I definitely bite off more than I can chew. I think a lot of us do. But let's pivot to community, because you are a finalist in 2 categories. So Hall of Fame is freaking awesome, man. Like that's the one I was like, I was like, it's John. I was so happy to see you in that category.
I didn't realize I was that old that I could get nominated for some kind of a hall.
It had to be 5 years, right? So you've been doing this for 7.
It's been 7 for comics. If you actually go back and sort my videos by age, I did some videos for a nonprofit organization in Africa, like a school program to get school supplies for kids in Malawi, Africa. And then I did some videos on like whale watching, which is funny because then I made friends with White Whale Comics and we have an ongoing show together. So I found the whale. But yeah, technically just for comic book stuff, it's been 7 years. Yeah.
That's great, man. And so, I mean, and you've changed, what you've done, but your interest is still there. Like, I mean, look behind you, right? Like you're
never
not
faded.
Do you ever feel like you're running out of stuff to talk about, or do you still have a longer list of things to do than you have time for?
Yes, it's definitely the second one for sure.
That makes me happy.
There's so many books, there's so many stories, there's so many things I haven't read that I want to read, or that I read once and I want to read it again with adult eyes, or things like that. That's been the fun of this. And yeah, in 7 years, it doesn't stay this. You're not doing the same thing. You want to change it up. And so and my girls and what we wanted to do on Saturday mornings. That's changed pretty dramatically. My friend Whitewell Comics, we used to do every Wednesday night a new comic book day book club where we would buy a book on Wednesday, read it that Wednesday, and then talk about it that night. Like,
oh wow,
it was a grind. And some weeks
that's
you're like, there's nothing but there's nothing but a new Guardians book, and it's horrible. Well, let's talk about it. Let's get a friend to come on and review it. Then it became, now we're doing like a monthly look back. But it's just been shifting it with our collecting habits, and we're not going to the shop every Wednesday anymore. So now it's like, okay, well, what was good this month? Let's find something good and discuss it. I think it just shifts over time what you're interested in and what you want to do. And I'm so heavy into reading these big collected editions now. Most of my live streams are usually connected comic wise to, hey, I just read the entire run of, Reginald Hudlin's Black Panther. Let's talk about that. Or I just read Batwoman by J.H. Williams, and I want to talk about Batwoman. It's been kind of
that was
fun.
a good run.
Oh my God.
That was a good run.
It was so good. I ended up buying like her first appearance. I bought a statue. I bought an action figure. I went so ham on Batwoman. What a great, and the artwork. Oh my God.
J.H.
Williams, man.
It was one of the prettiest books on the shelf back then. Great covers,
and I went and got
great interiors.
I bought that whole set of, was it Promethea? I'm excited to read that now. I've never read that because
I haven't read it.
I got to get anything.
That's on my list. So I got Promethea. I got the first issue just because the cover's gorgeous, but I want to read it, But isn't the last issue of that like some kind of weird fold out poster thing? There was something that came out.
I have no clue because I just bought it after Batwoman. It was like anything with his name on it, and everybody's like, read this, and I just bought all 3 hardcovers.
Yeah. Because Promethea is the Alan Moore J.H. Williams project. And I feel like the last issue was some kind of weird, like, visual poster, like it folded out. And I may be thinking of something else. That was the era where I was a comic shop employee. So, like, I had to know, I had to know about everything.
You had to be up on your trade.
That's when you had to read, like, hey, this new Guardians came out and it's terrible. Read it so that you can tell people how good it is.
Before we get to JSS's comment, I just wanted to say I really, really like a turn of phrase that you used a little while ago. I wanted to read it with older eyes. I think that's a really interesting thing to say. Is there anything that you have read with older eyes that you either have a markedly improved or disimproved view of?
Oh, that's a great question.
It is a good question.
Yeah, I will say something that has aged significantly for me is G.I. Joe. I was way into G.I. Joe when I was little. I had all the toys, the shows, the comics, everything. And most of it doesn't hold up anymore. Like, most of it is not on that level. However, there are some issues in that original G.I. Joe run that are absolutely stellar and stand the test of time. But that's one that definitely, I wish I could read it with my younger self and just kind of like see his absolute joy of it and passion for it. So that's one that shifted in a big way. Versus, it's funny. You mentioned New Mutants earlier, and I think I didn't appreciate Bill Sienkiewicz at the time for what it was. And reading Demon Bear with adult eyes is a very different experience than reading it as a teenager. And that Demon Bear story, it's easily the best thing in that first omnibus. It is so phenomenal. And you can, every time I looked at a certain panel or page, I would get something new out of it because there was so much detail and it was so psychedelic and wild. And his style fit this concept of like a demonic dream world so perfectly. It works well in the Legion storyline, but I thought I was going to love that more as an adult than I did. In the end, reading it as an adult, that one didn't hold up the same way. But that Demon Bear hit a lot harder now.
Yeah, I was like you. I didn't like New Mutants when I was, a kid in the 80s and 90s. Like, I would look at the art or look at I'm like, what is this? But because of Sienkiewicz, because of his art and his covers and how much I love them, I started like hunting down things that had his interiors. And yeah, it's not like always conventional, but like you have to appreciate it for what it is. And it's it's great. And New Mutants, it feels it feels like it's got its own little pocket within X-Men, and the characters in there, like, they're kids, so they have this relationship, and I think it felt like kind of what I thought X-Men should feel like.
Sure.
But X-Men, because it's gone on so long, is this big,
Yeah.
So New Mutants just kind of felt like that same kind of, you could get that same hit, but it's not going to be as over your head if you're not up on all the history.
Well, and as a kid reading
you
it,
got to
what I
tell us
loved
about Doom at some point too.
Oh yeah. What I liked about New Mutants though was like it brought the kid out in me that I wanted to be
great.
I wanted to be Kitty Pryde. I wanted to be going to the school and have school friends and be struggling with these powers. And by that point, the Uncanny X-Men had become soldiers. They were out there fighting wars and stuff. They were rarely like in class learning stuff. And I think that was the hook for New Mutants for me. Was as a kid, I liked, they all had the matching uniforms, and they were all, it felt like a boarding school in some way. And I thought that was a cool, that it was nice to bring that back to the book, because it had been absent from the comic for an incredibly long time. The fact that this was a school,
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah. It just, it felt like it was like, okay, so this is what we said the X-Men was going to be, but we're going to do it this time. We're going to stay at school, and we're going to have like, we're going to have like, a teenager type book without, but it's still interesting to read. It's not like you're watching a CW show, but you are a little, and it's okay.
Right.
Carrie, good morning from Denmark.
So yeah, the Doom started because I got that epic Book of Doom omnibus, which was like so massive, and it's really interesting. It covers all of his earliest appearances and key storylines, and then some of those big Marvel graphic novel books like Triumph and Torment, and so it's an epic undertaking from his first appearance all the way through into like Mark Waid stuff in the early 2000s. It's a really massive tome. And I was like, well, I bought it for a great deal, but I got to read it at some point. Like, so I hit up Stu over at Dr. Doom's fan club, and I'm like, look, I can't think of anybody else that I should be doing this with but you. Like, any interest in reading these things? And so we like studied how many books were in it, and it was a ton. And I was like, we can do it all in one night if you just want to talk. He's like, no, we got to really stretch this out. So we broke it into like 4 parts. We did like the early stuff in the 60s. Then it was almost like 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and then 2000s. Like we broke it into 4 pieces, and each of us hosted 2 of them. And it was a lot of fun. Some of the stories I had never read before and was blown away by. Other ones I was like, boy, they really made him a one-dimensional villain right at the beginning. Like he had no character depth at all. He's like, my name is Doom, and I'm just here to kill everybody. Like I have no deeper motivation beyond just destruction of the world.
Sure.
So it was fun to see his character become the villain that we know him as today, as far as like being a ruler and being, a sorcerer and being a genius, scientist and all these things. And at the beginning, it was just like, I went to school with Reed Richards. He told me my experiment wasn't going to work. I ignored him, and it blew up in my face, and now I hate him. Like that was the entirety of his character. There was nothing more complicated than that.
Yeah, and now he is the most petty bitch in all of Marvel comics.
Yeah. But also, like, when he's well written, like Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is a similar villain in that,
hater.
like,
just
early
a
on,
straight up hater.
Just a hater. Like, God, I hate Superman so much. Like that's all it was. But like, to write these villains with motivations that when you read it, you're like, you get it, and sometimes you're like, oh God, I kind of really get it.
I feel that way. I feel that way with Magneto a lot, and I know that's a very common thing to say. But he goes from being just a mustache twirling villain to this guy actually has the right idea. He's going a bit too far in places, but he's got the right idea.
Yeah. When he takes it too far, but it doesn't make him wrong.
Whenever we play Marvel Rivals, my buddy, a buddy that I play with, is constantly like, he's just yelling out, Magneto was right. Because he did nothing wrong.
I should have worn I even have the shirt. I have a bright red Magneto was right shirt.
That's great. Did you bring anything you wanted to show today, John?
I mean, I've always got stuff all the way around. So, but if you have stuff you want to start with, that's fine.
I have one thing I want to show because he is right here. There's my friend Eric. FOMO Squad represent. He did this awesome Dazzler piece for me.
Oh yeah, look at that!
And I got her framed up yesterday. I mean, dude,
it's ridiculously good.
The motion in this. So she's listening to music with like the big chonky headphones with the twirly phone cord type of cable. I
love it.
These little details, and then the hints of blue on the costume with the watercolor. This thing it's just one of my favorite things in the world.
So I really like that you can tell that the dazzles are just because she's enjoying herself. Like it's not intentional, you know, and that comes across in there. Eric, you're so talented.
You are so good, Eric. And then this one I bought off a friend who is an artist. Ooh. And this is another piece of original art. So this is the turtles fighting a Triceraton, a big monster, and Usagi's back there too. So these two I've had for a while, and I just had I haven't had frames. So I got frames, and now I'm so happy.
I'm curious how you framed your stuff, because I mean, framing is so expensive. I was curious what
I went to Michael's with a 40% off coupon, and
there it is.
So like this
DIY.
This is original, and this is like 11 by 17, but the art is 11 by 15, and I couldn't find an 11 by 15, but I had some green construction paper and I made it work. Like I was just like,
the green is nice. It pops.
I thought it would be nice with the turtles. Yeah. So I thought about taking it like to the framing counter and, you know, doing a whole thing, but I also have, I just have so many pieces, and you have a lot of pieces behind you. You know, you have some pages and some.
There's 4 that are like commissioned pieces that I got from various characters. So I've got like there's a Storms on this side, and Catwoman's here, and then there's a Poison Ivy and a Phoenix as well that I got. And then these are prints. The Wonder Woman and the Nightwing are prints that I got. So David Mack signed this one at a con for me, and then Taylor and Redondo signed the Nightwing one. But my wife had some pieces that she wanted to get framed, and we used a company called FrameBridge. It's not cheap, but what I liked about it was you can upload photos of the item and size it into the frame. They will price it for you. You can design how the layout fits into the frame, and then you package and send the stuff to them. They frame it, they put it together, and they ship it back to you. So it's all done like over the mail, basically, you know. And everything came out great. I just love it.
Sounds like an old comic book ad. Frame by mail.
1,000%. Yeah, exactly what it is.
I'm writing that down right now, actually.
Yeah, so it's FrameBridge, and they spell it correctly, unlike most companies these days who want to add like an extra letter in there that's not supposed to be.
Or they just take out all the vowels at the back half of the word inexplicably. Like
none of that, thankfully. And they ship them really well in these huge boxes that I've actually kept for my girls' artwork, because the boxes are massive, and it's like, it stores all their projects from school in this one little box.
That's a good idea.
So I have a couple of slabs that I'll share. I just got this one in the mail recently, and it's I'm a big Jeff DeCall fan. He's really great cover artist, and he did this cover of Emma Frost, and I was like, look, gang, like that's Emma. That's my stone cold biatch. Like she is such an awful and fantastic character. She's been through the ringer, and she just don't care. I just recently reread Civil War for the first time in a handful of years, and I love the fact that everybody comes to her and like, what are she's running the X-Men at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like, who are the X-Men going to join up with? And she's like, I'm going to sip my tea and say, screw you to all of you guys. We're always the bad guys. It's always X-Men versus Inhumans and X-Men versus Avengers. You go fight your stupid wars. We're going to sit this one out. And I love that about her. Even Storm is like, what are the X-Men doing? In Black Panther, Storm's like, what side are we on? And Emma's like, None. We're on our side. Like, they weren't there for us when Genosha was getting slaughtered. Why are we there? Because they're fighting over the new law the government's enacting.
And
like,
if I remember, during that talk, there are Sentinels walking around like the
yes,
X-Men compound because the X-Men didn't get help
100%.
from the Avengers.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I snagged this just recently because the 9/8 for this have come way down. I basically paid what it would cost to get it slabbed at this point. And then I just did a video on that's coming out, I think next week, on the Silver Surfer Black, and I pulled this variant out that I freaking love. I don't know if you've read that series, but
no.
I love Silver Surfer Black, and it's one of the more unusual collected editions I've got. And because it's like they came out with those really massive, almost artist proof size books for it. This is Donny Cates on writing and Trad Moore on artwork. It was a mini series following, the Surfer gets infected with basically the power of Venom and Null, and he starts to like mentally deteriorate, and it shifts him in space and time. This cover, though, this is Marcos Martin, I think. Yeah, is wild. The more you get really cool closer to it, you see Surfer's like shattering his own profile, and then there's like creepy like claw hands like climbing through the glass of it, and then of course the background's all like the solar system. It is a buck wild variant that I just love. So simple in color and design, and Marcos Martin is super good. Like, he crushes his covers. So I pulled this out for the video, and I was like, God, I haven't looked at this in a while, and it's just a beauty.
Very cool.
So there you go. There's a couple.
So Silver Surfer is like a character that like I have not read very much of, but it's the character that I think like I could get into that, like, because it's weird.
Right.
And so is there a character like that for you? Like somebody who you've got on the periphery? Like, I'm interested, but I've never plunged in, but I can totally see that would be something I would dig.
I think I'm just starting to dabble in the world of the Birds of Prey, and there's a part of me that's just like, there's a lot of the ladies on that team that I'm like, I could become a big fan. What drew me to the current run is Big Barda, because I love that character, and the original.
There you go,
I love Barda. I love Barda.
Oh, she's so good. The original Mr. Miracle, King's Miracle, like New Gods, all that. She's just always been a stellar character, and I'm like, oh, she's on the Birds of Prey now. I got to check this out. But Black Canary is the answer to your question, where a character that I haven't read a ton of. I've only seen her as like, oh, she showed up in this Batman story over here, or she's in this Justice League book over here. But I just read the first Birds of Prey story, like the original 90s storyline, and she is basically the focal point. Like it's her and it's Barbara. That's pretty much it. And I read it for Magic Lasso. He wanted to do one of his DC shows he does every Sunday night, and he's like, pick a character. And so JP and I picked the Birds of Prey, and he's like, oh, you got to read the original stories when they first started. And I was like, she's a badass. Like, I kind of like Black Canary now. Am I a Black Canary fan? What's happening? And I went and actually I snagged a couple of her early issues, but it made me want to keep reading that original run and get maybe deeper into her universe. I think it's because I've never been a big Green Arrow fan. So I was like, I know that she's always with Green Arrow and whatever.
Yeah. I do. He's another character. Like, I don't really have much of Ollie or Connor's runs at all. I've always read them in the other books that they're involved in.
Sure.
So like the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, especially the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run.
Sure. Oh yeah.
The Buddy Road Trip was so good. But she shows up a lot in that as well.
Yeah,
I like her.
Deadman is asking, Silver Surfer Black is just the miniseries, but I do know that iteration of the character appeared in like one of Cates's Guardians or somebody's Guardians run. Like, he hasn't been, but they basically give you, I mean, spoiler alert, like what it would be like if someone of that cosmic power was facing the end of their life. Like, what would that look like, and how would that impact the cosmos, right? You could read it independently. Like, if you were not a Silver Surfer fan, had no knowledge of the character, the Trad Moore artwork is super psychedelic. But like, if you're into it, like, it's a lot of fun. But if inversely, if you just wanted to get the character's beginnings, his first solo series is impeccable, and the artwork is just unbelievable. You get the first Mephisto in issue 3. You get that amazing battle with Thor in issue 4. Like, it's a great place to start if you've never read the character.
Mike Allred did a run of Silver Surfer that I'm always seeing, covers of, and I just love
never
his
read
art.
that, but his
I feel like he's an artist that's kind of made for that kind of book as well. All right, who's your first crush, John? Who are you crushing on?
That's a great question. I mean, Mohawk Storm is early in that time frame because I read issue 201 when she kicks Cyclops' ass in the danger room, and she has no powers and he's got his powers, and it's like they play tag in the danger room. That's the whole plot basically of issue 201 is who's going to be the leader of this team. Let's play tag in the danger room, and the first person who gets tagged is out. And Cyclops is like, well, I got to take it easy on the girl, and I've got powers and she doesn't. And she whoops his ass. Like, she absolutely whoops his ass. And I was like, well, that's kind of hot.
Something was awoken within you.
That ranks high. I also liked Kitty Pryde as a kid. I couldn't tell if it's like I wanted to be her and go and be the student, or if I wanted to just hang out with her. And then Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, man, come on. Barbara Gordon was it. I wanted to be Robin, and I wanted to hang out with Batgirl. Like, that was Babs all
I wanted
day.
to be Robin, and I wanted to make out with Batgirl.
Same, man, same.
Hagen,
I just didn't want the Joker to hit me with a crowbar.
First comic book crush.
Y'all know about Diamondback from the late 300s issues of Captain America? She was a member of the Serpent Society, started off as a villain, pink hair, shaved head. That was my first comic book crush.
There was no pause.
No, he didn't.
That answer was so ready.
It hasn't changed. I didn't need a pause.
He's always ready to talk about Diamondback. That is in the front of the brain.
Hold on a second.
Not in the back.
Oh, it's so good.
Can we talk about Diamondback now?
I love it.
I think mine was legitimately Dazzler. I mean, one of the first comic books I had was a Marvel team up with Dazzler, Spider-Man, and Paladin. And I didn't know who Paladin was, but Dazzler was
There's some really great team ups with her in that run. And Marvel team up doesn't get the love. It doesn't get the love it deserves.
And there are some pricey ones too, though. Like some hard to find, and when you find, they're expensive. That's kind of put me off. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be picking those up. You know what I mean? Right. Like, if I see one that's a character I really want to read, but I'm not going to go nuts and try to track down the whole thing. Like,
I feel like Hagen went in there and he saw all the books with Diamondback, and he's like, you know what? I can't carry all these.
It would take too long.
You got
to
here
find
late,
the exact
Lasso.
ones that I want.
I mean, that's a good call too, Jonathan. Like, obviously the animated series of X-Men had some great sexy lady moments, but I was probably watching the animated Batman first, and Barbara's great in that too, man, when she comes into that series.
The animated
Batman
cartoons is so great.
It's peak animation. I feel like, for me, I was talking to my friend Magic Lasso about how I don't know if I am just getting old or what, but like, I can't enjoy animation these days anymore. Like, people are like, oh, you got to watch animated Star Wars. That's where it gets good. And I'm like, this looks cheap and crappy. Like, I hate this. People are like, oh, you got to watch the Harley Quinn show. It's so funny. It's so good. And I'm like, this is just petty and awful. Like, I hate this show. I don't know if I've gotten to a place where I just can't enjoy that stuff anymore, but Batman the Animated Series, man, that holds up. That show is so freaking good.
Do you just feel that way about the TV series, or do you feel that way about movies as well? Because I personally think that, like, the Spider-Verse movies are probably the
oh my god,
the best superhero movies we've ever gotten. Probably.
I needed this. Hey, I needed that because that makes me feel like I'm not the old crony that I thought I was, because those are the best Spider-Man movies we've ever gotten. Like, no question in my mind. The same way Mask of the Phantasm is still my favorite Batman movie that we've ever gotten. Like, those are so thank you for saving me.
Yeah. The Batman
that made me
really
feel
good.
better. That made me feel better. But I guess I meant more the TV show. Some of the DC animated movies that people are like, oh, the best stuff is the DC animated movies. I still would rather watch the live action movies in the end. I think but at least I feel better now. Spider-Verse, that one is phenomenal.
I don't know. I watch a lot of cartoons, John, and I feel like I'm you and I are close to the same age, so you are getting old.
I'm just crabby about it. Although I haven't tried Invincible. I hear Jonathan in the chat. I hear
Oh,
you.
that
I
one's
recognize
really
you, Jonathan.
good. Yeah.
And it's
So
also my
I
wife.
will.
Like I'm at that age where we have to watch whatever it is together. Like it can't be a thing
Yeah.
where like so we tried Harley Quinn, and my wife's like, if you make me watch another episode of this, I'm out. I'm out.
See, the thing is
bad.
I get that about the Harley Quinn show. Like I really like the dynamic between Harley and Poison Ivy. That's why I keep watching it. But
me too.
When
I love
when
those
every
characters.
fight scene starts with the exact same music sting, like I'm a big music person, and that just like immediately like I can't take it seriously. Just throw some variety in there, please, for the love of God.
Justin Birch. I'll be careful. I won't mention it. It's the same though, Justin. If you say Batman Forever, he shows up as well. So be careful.
I do think animation nowadays, though, with the way that everything's done on a computer, it doesn't. It lacks a certain level of character that, like, I mean, Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, those were a lot of hand drawn, painted backgrounds, and that there's a craft there that's just a lot different. And I know that artists are working on the computers to make these modern cartoons, but they come out a lot faster, and they don't look as good. They really don't. But occasionally you get like a Spider-Verse that does something, with the medium that raises it up.
And I wonder if it's also a relationship to the quality of the writing and voice acting, the time they spend with the voice actors to get a character right. Because I know that it's Lord and was it the guys that did Spider-Man? It's Lord and something, right? Lord and Miller, the two guys, because they did like the 21 Jump Street films. They got fired off of Solo because of the way they were shooting that, but they did the Lego movies. They tend to shoot with improvisation, and then they'll end up having like a 10-hour movie that becomes an hour-and-a-half movie, and they cut out all this stuff because they are working with the actors and refining the characters while they're shooting, which is why they fired them off of Solo, because they were like, guys, we can't shoot a 10-hour movie just so you can cut it down to an hour-and-a-half. Bring in Ron Howard, he'll fix this mess, whatever you guys are doing. But that's how they shoot, was a lot of improv and stuff like that. And I think it works well for animation when you have all this time to like, you can fix the lips to fix the line or whatever it is. So maybe there's more time spent on nuance and character and story.
Yeah, I was going to say Kay Munin is absolutely right. Western animation, mainstream, or the majority of Western animation loses to the majority of anime. Like particularly if you take a look at something like the Harley Quinn show, that does not stack up to like season 1 of One Punch Man, which is done by a studio called Madhouse. My God, like they just, I think it's less to do. Well, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that animation's taken seriously in Japan. It's looked at as a legitimate form of media, whereas here, if something's animated, people tend to think that it's for kids, when that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, like even Stevie D saying computer animation doesn't have the warmth of hand-drawn work. There is something to, like, if you go watch like the making of Akira, there is so much blood, sweat, and tears that go into every single frame of that. It's not possible that that's lost. That will show through.
Yeah.
And I love like the lo-fi-ness of it. Like even with modern comics, I hate how everything is inside the lines and everything's perfect and glossy. Like I really like how in Silver Age comics, almost every single issue that you get, there's going to be a misprint of color on the inside. Like Cap's going to be wearing red instead of blue, because that's just how it happens. Mistakes just happen. But that
I don't remember. I don't remember the issue, but you could clearly see there. One of the older books I have, I think it's from the 80s, and it's a Justice League. But you could see where they had changed what was in the speech bubble, because you could see like that little bit of copy line where they had cut out the new dialogue and just pasted it in there for whatever reason.
That's lovely. I love.
But yeah, that kind of stuff. And I did want to ask you about that, John, with the omnibus. I love being able to read it, right? Like I love getting some of these older books and being able to read them. I picked up some Silver Age ones. God, I don't like the coloring in a lot of them. The colors, like
when they touch it up.
If you look at a newsprint, New Mutants, okay, and then look at the slick, glossy Omni page, there's no question that that newsprint page, like the ink was made for that kind of paper, the coloring process was made for that kind of paper, and when they do it on that glossy paper, that loses something to me. Like I'll still read it and enjoy it, but it's not the same. It's a big problem. For me.
That makes me understand the people that did like the custom binding where they would cut the comic books in half and then put them into a binder. Like I know that's sacrilegious. I understand that. But to be able to open like a hardback book and then have newsprint on the inside, that sounds so lovely, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean I get it. And for the slideshows, we're often, using the digital platforms and you're getting the same kind of thing as far as like the color changes. And we'll often have guests who are like, let me show you what it looks like on my issue, because they've got the actual comic in front of them. And so that's why I think it's nice to read these issues several times in several different ways if possible, because there's benefits to each one. Sometimes if you've never read the book and you're reading panel to panel digitally, the splash pages, gang, jump out in a whole new way when you're like swiping panel to panel and all of a sudden like boom, this huge page shows up, or they do the whole splash page by zooming in on all the word balloons and you're going through like getting all the pieces, and then it pulls out and you can see the whole piece of art together and you're like, whoa, because sometimes you just turn the page and you're it's art first, word second or whatever, but when they force you to read it a certain way, there's some really cool things that happen digitally. I know it's not the preferred way most of us would read, but that medium, that format, that's come a long way.
It's cool that they're doing things for the format though. Like that's I like when we're, when we're doing something and here's the medium, like we're going to use the medium to its best ability, and that's why I generally don't get bent out of shape about comic book movies, like things being different or this or that. Like it's different. It just has to be. I get bent out of shape when it sucks, but not because they changed something. Like if they did it and it's like, it's not for me or whatever.
Did it work? Right. Did it work?
Right.
It should be the only criteria.
Last night at like 11:30, last night, my son and I decided, he really wanted to watch Superman again. So I was like, I have some Amazon credit. I was like, done. I bought it, There's a lot of, the costume bothered me when I saw still images of it. But like, again, within the context of the movie that they made, fine. It's fine. It's not the comic. It's a movie. And it was good for a movie. Like, I don't like to nitpick like that. And I do like that in digital, they're doing that kind of thing. I was just reading something where I thought like the writer screwed this up. They know what their pages are, right? Like they know how the pages are going to go.
Right.
And when I turn the next page, the splash page is on the right, and it ruined. Like I still had to read this whole other page, but the reveal was ruined. If they would have pasted it just a little differently so that I turned the page and saw that, impact would have been a lot stronger.
Throw in another ad.
That's when you put the full page ad, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Extra pause.
They don't even do ads anymore. This was a modern book. So it was like, it just should have been paced differently. But with a digital, because you're only getting a panel at a time or a page at a time, you won't run into that because it's always going to be the next thing.
And I will say that like, I prefer reading physical copies. I like the smell. I like the tactile feel.
For sure.
But there are comic books that I've had to read digitally because I just don't have access to them. I can't afford the omnibus. I certainly can't afford like the original issue, and there are people out there that don't have the disposable income that some of us have been really, really blessed to have. And so if you can only read digitally, if you can only sign up for Marvel Unlimited or whatever, as long as you're reading and you're enjoying it, then more power to you. I've got zero issue with that. I can't stand gatekeepers in that way. However you can get your story. And if you're happy with it, I'm happy for you.
Totally.
I mean, there are so many old comic book ads that like when I see them, it's that core memory unlocked moment. It's like, whoa, I mean, because they were in every book. Huh?
I just said the 10-speed racer that was on every Marvel comic for like 2 years or something.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, there were like bonkers ads in the late 80s for this weird candy that I showed my wife just the other night. I'm like, "Do you remember this candy?" She's like, "I think I liked that candy." But
Well,
yeah,
I
the
think some
Hubba
of
Bubba is a kid in a cowboy hat blowing a bubble.
the facsimiles, I think that's part of the joy of them, is being able to see those ads reprinted in the spaces where they were originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Terry
I
out of
appreciate
Alcatraz
even
and did great.
I appreciate even that I haven't bought like the Action 1 reprints that they've done before because they print them on the current size like paper. But the one that they
Sure.
did recently for Superman Day, they did it like in the full Golden Age magazine thing, which is really
Right.
inconvenient because I have to find a bag and board for it. But it's
And
great
a
because
box
it's the original size.
yeah, for sure. No, 100%.
Yeah, I just bought a new or a magazine box. I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, I'll just get the biggest box I can to throw all these oversized ends. My problem is the treasuries. Like, what am I supposed to
Oh,
do with
God.
these things? There's just a big stack of them up there.
Yeah.
Hagen, do you like the new Captain America?
Yeah, currently I tentatively like it. It seems like it's going a more reserved, like down to earth story. There are some people that dislike that it rewrites his origin after he comes out of the ice because it's the Marvel time sliding, and
Yeah.
he's coming out like in the War on Terror era now. I don't care about that at all. I couldn't be forced to give a shit about that. So I enjoy the story so far, and I hope that they keep it down to earth.
I love it.
Very cool. I need to go here in about 5 minutes. I don't want to like rush this, and I hate that. It's just I
No.
actually have something to go do, and I normally don't have plans. So, but I do want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons with John, because there are 3 dungeon masters on this panel right now, and I'm hoping here soon I'm going to have a chance to be a player in something for really the first time. I've never been like, no, I've only ever dungeon mastered because I'm the guy who would buy and read the book.
That's a teacher for you.
Right.
I'll
but
orchestrate
John, what's
class.
your like you've got a campaign you're getting ready to start, and you guys are going to do this on YouTube, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've been
since so cool.
Yeah, right at just before COVID started, there were a group of us that, had been made friends through this comic community. And we were like, well, it would be fun to, some of us have never played D&D. I hadn't played since, early college days. And I was like, this could be a whole lot of fun. And so we had a rotating game. Like whoever was the DM would host the game. And it went for years. We've probably had 4 different campaigns in that time and been on at least 3 different channels. And I kept saying no because I was like, I don't want to DM. It's so much work, and I don't know if I can juggle all of this. And finally, yeah, they conned me into it, and it officially starts tonight. Like tonight, I'm doing.
Oh,
Keys from the Golden Vault starts tonight on my YouTube channel. So,
what time?
6 o'clock my time, so 9 Eastern.
All right.
I've done 3 little tutorial videos, just kind of. Helping people build their characters or talking about how to play D&D, what it looks like, and those kind of things. So hopefully we're all ready to go.
I've been looking forward to this, man. I really have, mainly because we constantly talk about the same thing, and we're going to steal whatever idea we can to make this work. So thanks.
And I tried to blazing the trail. We have a couple of players that this is only their second or campaign, so they're still kind of learning, and then we have a few that are veterans that have been doing this for a long time, and they know how to bend all the rules. In fact, we finished one campaign by getting our butts whooped, but one of the more veteran players realized early on that we had 2 bags of holding. I don't know if you guys know about that rule with 2 bags of holding.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. See, this is something I didn't even know, but he knew it. And at one point early in the game, he's like, "Oh, I'll hold this bag of holding. You hold that one." And then later in the game, he offhandedly said, "You know what? I'll hold that other one for you." And he had 2 bags of holding. If you put a bag of holding into a bag of holding, you create a wormhole in space and time. And so we were all dying. We were all being murdered. And so what he did was he like pulled a Drax, and he basically jumped at the giant monster we were fighting and put a bag of holding into a bag of holding and killed the beast. And those of us still alive lived, and he died, and he took the creature with him. And that was how we ended the campaign. So note to yourselves, folks, don't put a bag of holding. No, don't give your players more than one bag of holding.
I feel like I read that story on like the D&D subreddit. Like I think that made it out of your game.
Oh, did it? Okay.
I think so.
This was about, it would have been about a year and a half ago, because that was the campaign before the last one. We were playing the Curse of Strahd, maybe. I can't remember which campaign we were playing, but this one player had, casually been sort of collecting these bags of holding and had not mentioned anything about it, and then waited until that moment. He was our barbarian, and he's like, I'm gonna Drax this guy. Just jump right into his mouth.
That's so cool.
And the rest of us were like, we're gonna die, we're losing. I just typed it in. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm still 5th edition.
Okay. I mean, I like 5th. 4th, I love the books, but it's definitely it's a lot more math. 5 feels a lot faster. The older editions, I get the love for them, the detail and just all the little nuances that are there. But there's also something to be said for just being able to go.
Yeah. 5th edition feels like it was geared more towards like, hey, I just watched Critical Role and I want to get into D&D, and it feels like a really easy way to get into it.
Yeah. It definitely has less of the heavy lifting for the math and the minutia, but it allows still for the fun role play and characterizations.
Yeah, and a lot of it's up to like your discretion as a DM to say like how much bullshittery you're gonna allow. That's an important metric in any D&D game.
And we made the conscious decision early on to keep the game moving and not worry about minutia too much, to avoid anything to do with food and water and components for magic and for like
tracking like arrows
gear you're
and
carrying.
Yeah. God.
Within reason, as long as your character doesn't buy 10 arrows and then never buy arrows ever again and shoot arrows every day, like within reason, we tried to be very much like, no, let's focus on the story and on the characters and on the the events that are happening. And so we definitely have scaled that down. Curse of Strahd was amazing, and that might be my favorite one we've done. My friend I mentioned several times, White Whale Comics, hosted us for that one. He's the best DM in our group, and he's done it 3 times, I think, so far. Wow. He just finished. So we did Curse of Strahd, and then he just did Icewind Dale. The Frost Maiden. Sorry, Rime of the Frost Maiden is what it's called, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was the event. That was the one we just finished in the beginning of July. I think the beginning of July is when we wrapped that one.
Very cool. Anything else coming up on your channel? Because 9 p.m. tonight, everyone needs to go watch some nerd.
I don't know how entertaining it'll be, but hopefully some bad accents and some comedy of errors, because the campaign I chose is very Ocean's 11-y, like getting the crew together for a big heist kind of and then there's like several heists each plot. Each time they level up, they get a new heist to try to accomplish. So it could be a lot of bumbling idiots crashing into things and, Scooby-Dooing their way around. But yeah.
You don't need to sell it. I'm already there.
Yeah, so that's tonight. And then I think I'm pretty light this week. I think Wednesday night I'm hosting the omnibus series I'm doing with my friend Magic Lasso, Avengers versus Justice League of America, where we're reading Silver Age team comics 1 issue at a time. So we're on issue 16 of each of those classics. 16 is when you have that classic Captain America Avengers Assemble cover and the new team kind of starts to form. So we'll compare issue 16 of Justice League of America from the Silver Age with Avengers issue 16.
Yeah, I
That's a
love
really good
that.
idea.
It's cool. And those old Justice Leagues, because I know you're not a big Silver Age DC guy. It's
they're
cool
so good
to see you. They're so good, but to see you like, especially because you haven't read as many of those, like the difference between Marvel and DC Silver Age could not be more stark. Like,
100%.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So when you put those two, like when you did, I watched where you did Avengers 1 and Justice League 1.
Sure.
And yeah, it was really cool to see because they are vastly different. But both just really good in their own ways.
And Mike Zakowski, man, that Mike Zakowski artwork is so flippin' good. It is absolutely, it's easily month to month, because we do this once a month. We'll pick another issue and read it that month. It's easily the highlight each time was what he does with his pencil and pen.
Next Sunday on here, we're gonna have David and LPH from Open by Chance, I believe. Is that? No. I'm sorry. I'm a week ahead. Next week might be Raph from I just opened up the wrong calendar. Next Sunday, somebody's going to be on here. And on Tuesday, on Tuesday this week, we are going to rate some 80s cartoons on a tier list, something we've talked about doing for a while. Nope, I was right. August 31st is Open by Chance. So David and LPH, they have a toy museum in their house, and then they just moved houses, and so they rebuilt their toy museum.
Oh, wow.
And so they're going to be...
Do you know who is going to be guest hosting that week? Because
I do not yet.
I will not be there. That sounds like an Eric time, though.
It does sound like an Eric thing, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's either going to be probably Eric or Dope as substitute Hagen. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk with it. I was on a stream with them once. They were guests on Alan's show, and they have a Saturday night stream where they just kind of talk about whatever. They go to a lot of big conventions and just really nice people. So I'm excited to see that. Before we do go, I want to say thank you again to John and Cliff and Matt. You guys are absolute princes. So thank you so much. That crotch thrust is like my signature move.
It's the ponytail guy at the very end with his woman walking in, and he's watching, and he kind of like puts his arm around her, like, get her further away from the guy. Like, don't look, baby, don't look.
The footage of him walking down the street is equally as good too. Like before he steps up to do the dance at the shop, like people just look.
It's the close up on the belt buckle with the. And the oh god, it's so
finger
awful.
Guns.
So
it's
awful.
So great. So chat, thank you so much. You guys are awesome as always, and just a lot of people chatting it up and hanging out with us this morning. Go see everybody else. Oh, and Jason, Archivist Adrift, thank you so much, buddy. And if you like cleaning and pressing videos, man, go watch his wizardry. It's crazy what he does. Takes Golden Age comic books apart and dips them in water. Madman.
I'm scared just
all right, I'll see what I can find at that toy show. I got some I'm looking out for too. So thank you for being here, everybody. John, thanks. We are going to do it again soon, I hope. This is absolutely you and I have done like 3 hangouts recently. It's been a lot of fun.